Most people search for how to control the mind when they reach a quiet breaking point. Not a dramatic collapse, but a silent frustration that grows day by day. Thoughts feel repetitive. Motivation feels unreliable. Focus disappears quickly. Life begins to feel controlled by something invisible. That invisible force is not fate or luck. It is unmanaged thinking. The mind, when left unchecked, does not guide life forward. It repeats what is familiar, and familiarity slowly becomes a prison. You may notice that your days look similar even when you promise change. You plan improvement at night and repeat old habits by morning. This is not because you are weak. It is because your mind has been trained without your permission. Thoughts repeat themselves because repetition creates comfort. Comfort creates behavior. Behavior creates results. When results remain unchanged, people blame circumstances. They rarely look inward. James Allen believed that thought is the foundation of character and destiny. According to his philosophy, a person does not drift into failure or success randomly. Every outcome begins as a mental pattern long before it appears as reality. This idea is uncomfortable because it removes excuses. If thought creates direction, then awareness becomes responsibility. Most people are never taught to observe their thinking. They assume thoughts are facts. They obey every emotional impulse. Fear feels urgent. Comfort feels logical. Avoidance feels justified. Over time, these reactions become habits. Habits quietly shape identity. Identity then dictates choices. This is how the mind takes control without resistance. The purpose of this video is not to motivate you temporarily. It is to help you understand the mechanics of your own mind. Once you understand how control is lost, you can learn how control is regained. This process is calm, slow, and practical. It does not rely on excitement. It relies on clarity. If you stay with this explanation until the end, you will begin to see your thoughts differently, not as commands, but as suggestions. And that shift alone is the beginning of mental freedom. The mind does not control life through force. It controls life through familiarity. Whatever you repeat mentally becomes normal, and whatever becomes normal eventually feels right. This is why people continue patterns they claim to hate. The mind prefers what is familiar over what is beneficial. Comfort feels safe, even when it produces regret. Every thought you entertain carries direction. Some thoughts move you forward, others hold you in place. But the mind does not label them clearly. It presents them all as reasonable. Fear sounds logical. Delay sounds responsible. Comfort sounds deserved. Without awareness, these thoughts blend into identity. James Allen believed that thought is the silent shaper of destiny. He explained that long before an action becomes visible, it exists as an inner agreement. A person agrees internally before they act externally. This agreement happens so quietly that most people never notice it. The mind works by association. One negative experience creates a memory. That memory creates anticipation. Anticipation creates avoidance. Over time, avoidance becomes habit. Habit becomes personality. Personality then decides the future. This chain operates unless interrupted by awareness. People often believe their problem is lack of motivation. In reality, it is lack of mental direction. Motivation comes and goes. Direction remains. A directed mind moves even when motivation is absent. Consider how often your thoughts drift without purpose. Worry about the future, regret about the past, imagined conversations, imagined failures. The mind spends very little time in the present, and without presence, there is no control. Modern life strengthens this problem. Constant noise trains the mind to react instead of reflect. When attention is fragmented, thinking becomes shallow. Shallow thinking leads to impulsive decisions. Impulsive decisions create unstable results. To control the mind, you must first slow it down, not by force, but by attention. Attention is the steering wheel of thought. Whatever you observe consciously begins to lose automatic power. Once you see how thought shapes behavior, you stop blaming circumstances. You realize that changing thought patterns is not mystical, it is mechanical, and what is mechanical can be trained. Most people fail at mind control because they misunderstand what control means. They believe control means suppressing thoughts or forcing positivity. This approach creates tension. Tension exhausts discipline. Exhaustion leads to surrender. The cycle repeats. The mind cannot be bullied into obedience. It responds to clarity, not pressure. When you fight a thought, you give it energy. When you calmly observe it, you weaken its influence. Observation creates distance. Distance creates choice. Another reason people fail is emotional attachment to identity. They say, "This is just how I am." But identity is not fixed. It is built from repeated thinking. When people defend their habits as personality, growth stops. James Allen emphasized that self-mastery begins with self-honesty. You must see your patterns without judgment. Judgment creates resistance. Resistance protects the pattern. Honesty dissolves illusion. People also fail because they expect quick transformation. Mental discipline develops gradually. At first, nothing seems to change, but beneath the surface, awareness is strengthening. Those who quit early never reach this stage. Fear also plays a role. A controlled mind removes excuses. When excuses disappear, responsibility appears. Responsibility is uncomfortable. Many people prefer familiar chaos over unfamiliar discipline. Another obstacle is distraction. Constant stimulation prevents deep observation. Without silence, thoughts cannot be examined. Without examination, control is impossible. Most people try to change outcomes without changing inner habits. They chase results while ignoring causes. But life responds to causes, not wishes. Failure at mind control is not proof of weakness, it is proof of unconscious repetition. Once repetition is seen, it can be redirected. James Allen believed that the quality of a person's life reflects the quality of their thinking. Not intelligence, not education, not circumstance, but thinking. He taught that inner order creates outer stability. According to this philosophy, peace is not found by avoiding difficulty. It is found by responding wisely to difficulty. A controlled mind does not panic, it evaluates. Panic comes from loss of inner authority. Allen emphasized responsibility without blame. Blame keeps attention outward. Responsibility brings attention inward. Where attention goes, power follows. Thoughts are seeds. Some grow into strength. Others grow into weakness. Whatever you plant consistently will grow. This is not moral judgment. It is cause and effect. Allen believed that silence is essential for self-mastery. In silence, the mind reveals its habits. Noise hides them. A person who avoids silence avoids self-knowledge. He also taught patience. Mental discipline is not dramatic, it is quiet. It is built through daily choice. Small decisions repeated consistently shape destiny more than intense effort applied occasionally. This philosophy does not promise comfort, it promises clarity. Clarity leads to strength. Strength leads to freedom. Mind control begins with observation. Set aside time daily to watch your thoughts without reacting. Do not judge them. Notice repetition. Patterns lose power when seen clearly. Reduce mental noise intentionally. Silence is training. Even 5 minutes daily strengthens focus. Introduce pauses before reaction. A pause interrupts habit. In that pause, choice appears. Limit input. What you consume mentally shapes thought. Choose carefully. Select one guiding principle to return to daily. Simplicity strengthens discipline. Practice consistency without emotion. Results appear gradually. When the mind becomes disciplined, life becomes quieter. Not easier, but clearer. Emotional reactions soften. Decisions improve. Energy stops leaking through unnecessary thought. A controlled mind does not rush. It observes first. It chooses second. It acts last. This order creates stability. Over time, fear loses urgency. Discipline becomes natural. Focus deepens. This change is subtle but permanent. James Allen believed that self-mastery is the highest form of success. Not wealth, not status, inner order. When you control your mind, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. This is not motivation, it is mental education. And education changes destiny.